Spring is in full swing, and this week, according to Kyle's forecast, is really a perfect week to get out there and start making that garden beautiful. And here to give us some help with the tomatoes in your garden is Jim Zamzow with, of course, Zamzow. Thanks so much for being with us this morning, Jim. We appreciate it.
Good morning. Glad
and
to be here.
You've brought along a lot of stuff with you. We're going to be going over some of the stuff to help people get tomatoes. Now is a good time, right? To get them in the ground?
Now is a good time to get them in the ground as long as they're protected.
And you're going to show us a little bit about how to do that, right?
Exactly.
So that if it does freeze at any point in time, you won't be in trouble.
Right.
So what are we starting with today then?
Okay, to start off with the tomato itself. You've got to prepare your soil. The most important part about any good garden is having a good quality soil. In this area, we've got some good sandy soil down by the river, but we've got clay soil up on the bench. So I've devised a product that works well in both of them. We call Tomato Maker. We just put a cup of that in the hole where we're going to plant our tomato. We mix it up well in the soil, and we of course take our tomato out of the little packet like this and set it down in the hole. Now there are several ways you can plant a tomato. You can set it in just to the depth that it is in this little container.
Just so that's level with the dirt that you already have.
Right.
Okay.
Or you can pinch these little side leaves off like this, and you can actually plant clear up deep. Tomatoes is one of the things that will actually sprout roots along the stem.
And is that going to be a stronger plant overall if you plant it deeper that way then?
It will be, yes.
Okay.
Because more roots form along this stem,
you've got more
root system
stronger plant overall. Okay.
Right.
So you're getting your tomato in the ground, and then you were mentioning some things to help keep them protected. I'm sure we need to, is there anything to kickstart it as well, kind of get it growing in full swing?
Well, of course, we put this in the soil, but we like to use this liquid fertilizer. Pardon me. We put about an ounce of this in a bucket of water, and we pour it around, water the plants in real well.
Is that particularly for tomatoes, or can you use that with anything?
This can be used for everything.
Okay.
It was originally designed for trees and shrubs, but because it's a natural fertilizer, it'll feed anything.
Awesome.
Okay.
So it's something to help it along as you first put it in the ground.
To jump
as well.
start it,
Yeah.
and gives you plenty of minerals, so you have lots of good flavor in your tomatoes.
Okay. Good news there. And so your tomatoes in the ground, you've got it starting to grow. What do you want to do once it's already planted?
Well, actually, you plant it even before it starts to grow. You should protect it. This time of year, we're right on the fence as to whether or not we're going to have another frost or not. And I've seen it frost clear up into June. So you always want to be prepared to protect your tomatoes, even if you don't think there's going to be another frost.
Yeah, and on Kyle's forecast, one of the days there's a low on there that's about 38 degrees he has on the extended forecast. So it could happen,
well,
you know, even this late in the year.
And 38 degrees up on the bench. Down by the river, it could be 32,
yeah,
which is, you know, the variable there. So we like to protect our tomatoes when we put them in with something preferably to hold water.
Okay.
And this, because water actually will absorb heat and will
kind of insulate them.
It protects them at night, but it also helps them to grow faster because it holds the temperature around them longer.
Okay.
And we have several different things that will do that. This particular thing is called a wall of water. I actually have 3 of them there in one package. But
there we go.
This forms out around the tomato, and then you fill these little cells full of water.
And then does that stick into the dirt then once you get water in, or does it just stand up on its own?
It does.
Okay. Gives it shape then.
Exactly. In fact, it'll look a lot like this, which is another way to protect. This actually will fill with water, a little easier to use, but also a little bit more expensive. So I like these because you can use them year after year after year.
Okay.
They'll last many years.
And easy to fill up and empty, no problem there, of course.
Exactly. And then we have another way of protecting called the Harvest Guard, which is actually a very specific type of cloth. It's a very light material.
Yeah.
But it holds heat in, and it keeps frost out.
Okay. And how do you put that cloth? Or is that going around? Is that
you can actually lay it gently over. This is more designed for row type crops.
Okay.
So if you have a row of peppers that you don't want to individually hot cap, you can cover the entire row with this.
Okay, so a couple different options there then to keep the tomatoes out of the, well, obviously they're going to be in the cold, but to keep them from frosting, freezing over, those types of things, because it can still happen even this late in the year, of course. Any other last minute tips about your tomatoes or anything else in your garden that people should be looking out for?
Well, I think the key right now is to keep the soil warm.
Okay.
Tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, and all of those what we call warm season plants require good warm soil temperatures. So as long as we have good warm soil temperatures, we got fast growth. As soon as it cools off, the growth gets stunted.
Okay, so if there's one thing that people absolutely need to do, or one thing they get wrong, what is it when it comes to tomatoes? Is it the protecting, or is it you want to jumpstart it? What's the main thing that you
Well,
want to do?
I think the main thing is that we always plant too early. We always lose the first 2 or 3 plantings to frost, and so it actually costs us more to get that tomato than if we waited until the soil was warm. There's one other thing I can point out to you. If you don't want to protect your plants, you can spray with this material, which will help to decrease the temperature that the tomato will withstand.
Okay, so kind of like salting your sidewalks, if you will, out in the winter. Going to do a little bit of science for you for advantage of the tomato. So
exactly.
Lots of ways to keep your tomatoes safe and growing, and hopefully you'll get really ripe tomatoes there that'll be delicious in your house.
About the 1st of August.
All right, thanks so much for coming on the show, Jim. We sure appreciate it.